Would you rather have a high comp or more money in your bank account?
More money in my bank account.
Right? Do you think that's possible without having a high comp? It's a percentage, right? What is 130% of what?
Is this a trick question?
It is.
130% of what?
Because there's no answer to it. Because what are you able to see if you don't have opportunity to go see clients?
Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the Life Insurance Academy podcast. I'm your host, Austin Lopes-Olvero, and I'm here with Chris Ball, Zach McElwain, and Roger Short. The LIA podcast takes you into the conversations of top producing life insurance agents so that you can level up your business. For episode notes and resources, visit liapodcast.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Life Insure Acad. Also, make sure you subscribe to our text notifications for episode releases and agent resources. All you have to do is send the letters LIA to the number 82149. That's 82149, and a message with the letters LIA. Speaking of messages, we received one recently on the feedback page of our website, liapodcast.org/feedback, from a gentleman named Scott. Scott's message was very encouraging to our team and hopefully for you as well. Scott said, "Gentlemen, thanks so much for providing all of this outstanding content. I got hooked on the podcast about a week ago, and it's all I listen to driving between sits. I'm not exaggerating. You seriously made me 4,000 AP this week that I wouldn't have been able to close on my own. Having my best week since I started this past 7 months ago, and LIA is a massive part of it. Thanks so much for what you do, fellas." Scott, we appreciate your kind words and way to get out there and get after it and apply what you're learning to be a profitable difference maker. You know, there's plenty of opportunity out there, and it's just a matter of having the right tools and the mindset to make it happen. That's why we created LIA, and that's why we do this podcast. So we wish you another great week, and let us know if you have any questions. We're here for you, and we're here for all of our listeners, which leads us to today's episode. We're discussing what you should look for in an IMO and how that can affect your profitability. Now, whether you're new to the industry, you've been with an IMO for a while, maybe you're an independent agent, or maybe you're even leading an IMO, we hope this episode serves as a great litmus test for you. But first, we need to answer the question of, what is an IMO?
Well, Austin, when I first got in the insurance business, I had no clue what an IMO was. Just weird letters to me, and didn't understand. I knew that you could get connected to an agency or a group that provided services, and that's really what I knew about it. Obviously, an IMO is an insurance marketing organization or an independent marketing organization that kind of represents the carriers to the distribution. Distribution being groups of agents. Agencies, that look to you for services. And so when I first got started, there was only two things that I was looking for that I thought were important. I realized later that there are a lot more things that really an agent should consider, but the two things that I was looking for were leads and contracts. I thought that was it. I thought the rest I could handle on my own, but I realized that there was a lot more variables that I needed to consider. And as I got started in the business, I realized that a lot of those other variables can determine success, can hold you back, can let you run. There are many other things to take into consideration. And so I'm hoping that this morning we can kind of discuss for agents that are either starting a relationship with a group or are in one, that you might step back and look at some of these characteristics, some of these features that an insurance marketing organization offers, and you'll take them into consideration to assess whether you're with a good one or not. And so there are certainly more than leads and carriers. There's growth opportunities. There's character and integrity. Limited carriers, extensive list of carriers, types of leads. There's so many other pieces. Guys, when you started, did you understand the features and characteristics of an IMO? What were you guys looking for? I mean, when you first started talking to me, did you understand these different features?
No, nope. I didn't even understand how it worked. As far as, I mean, it was like a group of people selling insurance. There was some dude on the stage. I mean, it was all very confusing when you first get started trying to figure out how to navigate this insurance world. Man, yeah, we've learned a lot. Personally, I've learned a lot through this process.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that you've learned. If you go back and tell yourself what to actually look for, what would you say?
Well, I'm a big fan of the television series The Prophet with Marcus Lemonis. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Have you guys seen it?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard you talk about it.
Yeah,
but
it's a great show. He comes in and helps troubled businesses, and he has this grid that I think is very useful, and it's people, process, product. Every good company has to have those three things to be successful, and it's how you treat people. This is a great grid for us. The people that you're working with, are they good people, and do they know what they're talking about? As far as their process, is it a proven sales system, and is there an opportunity for growth? And they have a product. The IMO has a product that they're marketing for agents to use. And when you go sit with Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones, whether it's in a mortgage protection sit or whether it's in a final expense sit,
or even health and Medicare now.
Right,
We have
absolutely.
a lot of agents now branching into that.
yeah, do you have the resources and tools to be successful in the field, or are you just winging it? So that's that. I feel like that's a really good grid to kind of evaluate this conversation through. Is this people, process, product?
Yeah, that's a great rubric to have, and you have to have some sort of way to evaluate these groups. Will you all talk about some of the experiences that agents have had or you all have had with IMOs that kind of make this topic relevant?
Yeah, we've seen a lot in the industry. In some ways, it's kind of like, yeehaw, the wild, wild west out there. And, you get gunned down in the street if you're not paying attention. And, I know that's a funny, I'll be a huckleberry, whatever. But some of the stuff, man, I mean, we've seen, had conversations with agents who've been a part of a group where their compensation was changed overnight. They were at a comp level. They decided that the system needed to change, and boom, their comp was decreased by 30 to 40%.
The agent didn't decide their comp was going to change.
No.
Someone above?
No, that was a decision by the IMO. We've had conversations with agents who were actively encouraged to clean sheet or do bad replacements on perfectly good existing policies with clients.
Because that group offered limited carriers, and so they were trying to fit the client to the product as opposed to having the product offering for the client.
Yeah, jam them in there. We've seen poor training or inconsistent leadership, wild stories. I mean, just crazy stuff of, you would think that they were on tour trashing hotels with rock and roll bands. I mean, it is, and I'm not exaggerating. I mean, there's just, if you're going to work with somebody, I would hope, if I'm working with somebody, I want to make sure they have high moral character.
It is kind of the Wild West. We've seen agents that are on super low contracts in an MLM type opportunity and paying $40 to $50 or more for a lead. Or they're trying to buy B leads or C leads, which are leads that are sold 2 and 3 times, and they're all an hour and a half to 2 hours away, and they're on the 65 or 70% contract buying, $40 leads that are 2 hours away, and they can get 8 or 10 of them a week. We've seen agents that are on fairly high contracts with one carrier, and their, as Chris said, their IMO just continues to turn a blind eye on all the things that are needed to be done to make that one product work, and jamming clients into that one product and literally using every shady practice go back and reference "Don't Be a Shady Life Insurance Agent"
Episode 24.
Yeah,
Good job.
And they're doing that, and so like there's just so many different variables out there of what agents are experiencing and what they're being told, and everybody on the internet's a specialist. They type behind their keyboard, and they do it from their car as if they're super successful and they've been in the business 8 months, and they're the masters of their game. And so people are taking advice from that person. Like it is crazy, Chris. You can't get shot down the middle of the street.
You know what I envision, Chris? I envision looking for the right IMOs, like walking into a carnival. And you got the one group over here saying, guess my weight. The other one's on the sketchy Ferris wheel. And you got this one over here. It's like this put together roller coaster. And they're all just saying, come on, come take a ride. And you're just walking around with your cotton candy, just not knowing which one to go to.
So with all of these things that we should be aware of, what are some things that agents should specifically look for when they're trying to find an IMO, or when they're considering their current IMO, or when they're considering the organization that they're running? What are some of the best practices of the best IMOs?
I think when in talking about these things, just remembering that you're going to be in business with some people, and that's going to be a thing where you're going to be spending some time with some folks, and you have to decide: are these do they have a good reputation? And are they good people? I mean, if you can get past, I've seen some of these organizations. If you can get past the pile of stuff that they put in front of you first, so you got to walk around the Lamborghini, you have to walk around the fountain in the yard, you have to walk around the house of the IMO president. You have to move through that stuff and then get to the conversation of like, geez, like, do I want to be in person with this? Do I want to be in business with this guy? Would I have him over for dinner with my family? Is that the kind of person I'm going to be in business with? Am I going to be proud? Am I going to be proud to say, yeah, man, that's my business partner. He has my back. He's the kind of guy I trust around my family. Is that the person that you are going to link arms with and run with? Another way to test this, once you get past the Lamborghini and the fountain and you're having these conversations with the IMO leaders, I think it's okay to ask if you can talk to a couple of people who left the organization and what they have to say about the people that you're getting ready to work with. Heck, I think it's a great idea to call the carriers and ask them, call Foresters, call Mutual of Omaha, call American Memorial Life, call whoever, and ask, does this organization submit good business? That's the question. Does this organization submit good business? But in both those conversations, you're just, they're vetting you, I promise you, or they should be. They should be vetting you. You need to vet them. The other side of that is the numbers. What numbers are they showing? Here's a great question to ask their IMO leader or whoever is recruiting you. The numbers you are showing, are they issue paid numbers or are they submitted numbers? Are they issue paid numbers or submitted numbers? Because if you're joining a group or if you're joining an IMO, you want to see the real thing. You want to see the real numbers, and issue paid is business that got through and was issue paid. And if the number is massive, if there's a massive difference between submitted and issue paid, then that's probably going to communicate to you a sales strategy or a training that is that has some weaknesses to it. Would you agree with that, Zach?
100%. Another thing you have to ask is, is persistency calculated in this? Is this before or after lead cost? Like, what is the opportunity to really earn a living here, and not the rah-rah amount? And for anybody that's listening on this call, we all know somebody at some point in this business that has written a ton of business, and everybody looks at him like he walks on water. But at the end of the day, are they really making money? Or is that just a whole hype and follow him or look what he has done? Because there's a lot of people that we probably know personally, maybe friends in the business, that sell a whole bunch of insurance and help a lot of families. But at the end of the day, they're not really making very much money.
How would that work, Zach?
There could be a number of factors. I mean, a lot of people, they truly believe that your comp or your percentage of commissions is the most important thing. When it's not, it's the quality of people you're around, it's the business model you're in respects to the training and understanding, because you can have somebody that's on a much lower compensation but is a well-rounded, trained agent that understands how to find the full need and will have a higher placement rate, have a higher persistency rate, have more carrier options to be able to help families. And that will also generate a reputation and more referrals. So you're able to do that on the lower number of leads because you're able to really be a difference maker in the family's home. And when you look at the end of the day, you may have somebody that has a much higher comp, but they earn less money. And because of so many factors. And a lot of these organizations, all they are is about, I want to be number one. They feed that dog that just wants to be, a top and ahead of everybody, or a lot of egos in that situation, and which is great. But at the end of the day, you have to have an organization that understands you as a person, understands you as an individual, that you have goals and you have dreams. And it may not be to submit the highest number of business to go on a carrier trip and to get a trophy. It may mean to really find a path that works for me, that you're able to achieve your personal goals, your personal income, and actually put money into the bank account and do something that really makes a difference at the same time, without always competing and comparing against everybody else of what they have or what they don't have or what they appear to have or appear to earn.
A lot of profitability that's in the business is something that's not necessarily obvious to agents when they're looking. So one of the problems that I see for agents out there is they start looking for the contract first or the leads first. It's usually one or two, and they're very closely associated. So leads and contracts. What contract level can I get? They chase the contract. And so then when they get a certain high-level contract with, Group A, then they're looking for all the support from that company, and yet they're given this really high contract. Well, if you're negotiating and a company gives you a really high contract, the higher that contract is, the less support that you're going to receive, because at some point you have an MGA contract, which is a managing general agent, which means you're supposed to be the manager. You're not, at this point, we're not supposed to be hand-holding you and giving you all the information and support that a new agent is going to require. That's why there's different levels of contracts, even offered by the carriers. And so you can out-negotiate yourself from the support and all the tools and access to the resources that you would need to become profitable, because you have heard in all these chat groups on Facebook and all these different, insurance pages and groups that the contract is the most important thing. Well, it's only the most important thing if you never intend to really grow a business and if you don't need any sales support, because you've got that already figured out. And then you can become an MGA, then go and get that, but don't expect the support. On the flip side of that, if you're given this low contract in this MLM type business model, the emphasis becomes on recruiting. And the only way you can grow then is to recruit. Unfortunately, there are groups out there that will offer a mid to low level contract, or a low to mid level contract, I should say, and they still don't offer you the support. That's like one of the worst scenarios that you could ever find yourself in. So now it's like it's not a growth focused business. It's not one of these MLM businesses. And I've got this mid-level contract, but I'm still not getting the support. Like, there are so many other factors for you to check in this temperature check and in this exploration of people, process, and product. You've got to figure out where the opportunity is and what type of support you're getting. So, as Chris, back to your 3 Ps, the grid, the people. Do they know what they're talking about, and are they going to be good for you, your family, your business into the future? Like, are they quality individuals who do what they say and say what they do? Do they have character? And can they back that up? Is the organization that they're a part of? Maybe you were brought in by someone else and they're not the IMO, but you were brought in by them. Is the group that they're a part of, can they back up their claims? Is it consistent? Number 2, is there a system for profitability and growth? Training, support, profitability, growth. Those are 4 key pieces to that process. And then lastly, this product. What is the product? And I'm not referring to the fact that, hey, we've got this carrier, or we've got Transamerica, or we've got Primerica, or we've got Lincoln Heritage, or we've got ABC companies. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, what is the product that the IMO is turning out? Is there a good agent opportunity for the individual coming in? Can I invite my best friend into this business and they can become profitable without having to recruit the world? Can they make a good living? Are they going to get the support they need to make a good living in this industry? And is there a way forward for them as a growth opportunity? So is their focus on agent profitability, or is it designed to prop up the organization or feed the profitability of that IMO? So there's definitely some pieces that you need to consider beyond just the contract. And unfortunately, a lot of agents chase that contract number first, and then they find themselves stuck, and then they can't figure out their way out of that.
It's interesting. Like, when I'm looking at our outline for this conversation, Roger, when you said you were first starting, you were looking at 2 things were most important to you: contract and leads. Boom, contract and leads. And then figuring out, a lot of things throughout the process of getting in the field, creating an opportunity for growth, and a good sales system, all that stuff that goes along with it. But it's interesting when I look at that side of it versus even the outline that we have for this conversation. Number 1, good reputation and good carrier relationships. Number 1, like, it's not leads and comp.
No,
it's not.
No,
it's number 1 are the people that you're working with. You have to know who you're going to work with. And that's number 1. That is number 1. It's not leads. It's not comp. It's the people in your neighborhood. Who are the people in your neighborhood that you will be working with? And
Isn't there a song in there somewhere?
Yeah, there is. And number 2 is compensation. Number 3 is carriers. Number 4 is a good lead system, then a sales process, and then a growth opportunity. That's kind of the structure that we have when it comes to asking questions and looking for the right place. Because I know it. You can stand there like a deer in the headlights, frozen, because you don't want to make a poor decision. And it is an important decision.
Chris, we've had agents that work with us now that were in one of those MLM type opportunities, for instance. And their top carrier contract that they were utilizing was at like 60 or 65%.
Right.
For their commission on their annualized premium. And they were buying leads at over $40. Now, the only way to progress up from that is to recruit so that you can grow your monthly business so that you can go to 70%. And
so
then 75%.
For the listeners that are new to this industry and have no idea, is that a good opportunity or is that a bad opportunity?
Do you want that opportunity, Austin?
I'm just saying, bro. I'm trying to ask, do you want that? If you're a new agent, do you want that, or is there better?
Well, Austin, I guess I can phrase it this way. If you are more focused on building something and promoting yourself on social media, promoting your weekly issue paid and your new levels that you've gotten, and walking across the stage and being recognized at your monthly rally or conference. And if that's your priority, recognition and doing something that appears to be very profitable, that might be the opportunity for you, because you can recruit a whole bunch of people, move yourself up, and then you can look and say, look what I did. But from a pure agent standpoint, if you're looking to help families and make a living, and this is why you're listening even to this podcast, that's probably not the best opportunity for you to get started. There is much better. So street level contracts kind of range. And this is kind of like a level of services that you're going to receive for type of contracts that you're going to have. So if you're on the independent channel and you're looking to partner with a group that offers multiple carriers, for instance, and you're looking to establish a good relationship with someone that's going to provide support for a brand new agent and help you to become profitable and be there with training, support, ongoing service, and a lot of value added pieces, that street level contract's going to range somewhere from 85 to 90, all the way up to about 110, to get started. And again, there's going to be a variance of what's available even within that, as far as the support goes. Because, if you're a high producer and you're coming into that organization, then you're looking at the upper side of that. If you're brand new, you're looking at the lower side of that. But there should be an opportunity for you to progress even. So, then you're, of course, going to have to look at lead costs and lead opportunities. Like Zach said, what are the costs associated with that? Because at the end of the day, it's not how much I write or what I post that our group did or what I did. And I'm posting my 2K a day, every day on my Facebook page. It's actually what gets issued and paid every month that I actually get paid on. Those are the real numbers of what's going in my bank account.
Clears the bank account.
Exactly.
With the
Correct.
At the end of the day, the comp is a percentage. A percentage of what? It ain't a salary. It's not a guaranteed income. It's a percentage. Well, it's a percentage of the services that you're provided from the IMO, the percentage of your training and support and mentorship that you have. The quality of leads will play a huge factor in that. And let me ask you, Austin. Let's say you're getting licensed and you want to go. You want to go out and write some business, right? Because you're a brand new guy and you've been hosting this podcast and you're ready to fly, right? Would you rather have a high comp or more money in your bank account?
More money in my bank account.
Right? Do you think that's possible without having a high comp? It's a percentage, right? What is 130% of what?
Is this a trick question?
It is.
130% of what?
Because there's no answer to it. Because what are you able to see if you don't have opportunity to go see clients? What if your leads are so, the quality of your leads is dropped to a point, or maybe you only have a few opportunities, but you may have a huge contract? Well, you don't have very many people to see. Maybe you're not trained and go to knock on other doors that are outside of your leads. Or maybe you just aren't very good or taught how to do referrals or have other resources or even know how to fill out your first application. So at the end of the day, you may have an agent on a 50% contract with an entire organization behind them. And I'm not saying it had to be something like that. To out-earn somebody on a 130% contract that doesn't have all those other variables that are involved with it. Because they're so important, and I can't stress that enough, that it's a percentage. It's not a salary. It's a percentage of what? It's a percentage of the opportunity you have at hand. It's a percentage of the level of services that Roger was talking about that the IMO provides. And so to really maximize that, the best thing to do is to find the good organization that you're involved with that has the services and the growth and really cares for the agent, where the IMO works for the agent doesn't work for the IMO. And you really have that two-way relationship, and you build your way up to where you have a great understanding of insurance and you're really to make a huge impact and difference. And by the way, when you're doing those things, you earn higher comps as well. And then that's where you can apply that percentage, and you have all the support and everything behind you. That's when you really start making some serious money and really making a difference in your family. And you talk about wanting recognition. I would much rather have recognition when I go home bringing the bacon rather than going on stage holding a trophy.
The question is, am I getting the support for the compensation that is being offered to me, and what does the growth opportunity look like within that business model? So you can be on a low comp with high lead costs. You could be on a high comp with high lead costs with limited opportunities because of the product. There are some other variables that you can consider. Am I getting earned lead opportunities, or do I have to pay for my leads? Like, that's going to result in some different options. Some groups do not have an earned lead opportunity. They give you a contract, they'll give you training support, but you have to pay for your leads. Or you have to warm market it yourself. Make your list of 200 and start knocking on families and friends' doors and try to find somebody who wants to buy some insurance from you while you're selling windows. Or while you're the carpet guy, or, while you got laid off from your other job, now you're selling insurance to your family. So there's that approach. So if your group that you're partnering with has an earned lead opportunity, what does that look like? What does my compensation look like? What are the quality of leads that I'm getting? And is there an opportunity for me to progress and earn more with my production? Do they have a paid lead opportunity and an earned lead opportunity? And what does the compensation look like there? It's going to offer an opportunity for new people to walk into the business and be able to get started without the high expense of investing in leads before they even know what they're doing. That's how I started, unfortunately, but I was prepared to invest as a business owner. I understood that, but a lot of people coming into the business, they just don't have the financial wherewithal to do that. So ask, does this group have an earned lead opportunity, and can I progress where I can invest in my own marketing, start covering my own lead costs, and then pick up a higher contract and compensation as a result? And what does that compensation structure look like as I move forward? Is it a reasonable grid? Is it achievable? Is it attainable? What do I need to do to continue to grow as I partner with this group and invest in them and in this relationship for a career?
You had said something very important, Roger, throughout this, and that was look at the logic of the statements. Zach is one of the most logical people I know. I think he's part Vulcan. That was a nerd joke right there. But here's a logical thing that I would love to hear Zach's take on this. So I'm on the social medias, I call them, and I see an ad for an IMO that says, we've got thousands of fresh leads in inventory, thousands. And if you're looking for leads, we've got them in inventory. We'd love to talk to you. I'd love to hear Zach's take on the logic behind that statement, because if I'm an agent and I hear that, I'm thinking, oh wow, they've got fresh, right out of the oven leads, man. Like, it's I need to jump in on this.
That's very interesting, because my first thing isn't let me jump on those, right? So yeah, my logic is, okay, for one, if they're fresh leads, why in the world would they drop or receive 1,000 leads and they don't have an agent to run them? That is the first thing, because that is, we know, an average final expense lead on how much that costs. That could be an ungodly amount of money that organization just spent on leads. For what? For a hope that an agent is going to call and potentially run leads and get a contract with them?
Even more so if they're mortgage protection leads. They're costing even more money.
Exactly. More than probably double the cost of a final expense lead. So that one doesn't make sense. For two, if there are already thousands in the market, you know that if there's what is their definition of fresh? Right? That is the biggest question. How often are they dropping them? How long they've been sitting there with the date on that? And I promise you, if that organization have 1,000 brand new leads that are unassigned to agents, they know what they're doing, and they probably are not going to have a date on that lead that they can let you know what the true date is of that. Not to mention, I wonder how many times they've been sold. If not, how many agents have already worked them? Because a lot of leads, people own the lead, quote finger, and then they sell them multiple times. So it can be a fresh lead that is sold 3 or 4 or 5 times. Now, if that lead was exclusive, there's no way any IMO would drop, like I said, that many leads without an agent to go work them that is captive and to generate revenue off of.
Yeah, it's just a business model. Philosophy. It's really what is it that drives their business, So our goal on this conversation is just to have that grid in front of us, people, process, product, having a good sales system and a growth opportunity and reasonable lead costs, and go to work.
I'll say majority of agents, they probably don't focus on these types of podcasts of understanding IMOs. They're like, oh, I'm just out here writing business the same in and out day. But like, I challenge you, if you are listening to this, is to really understand the business, understand what a good opportunity is, understand what a true IMO is, and the more you can understand leads and all of these other topics that we talk about in Life Insurance Academy, then the more you'd be well-rounded to have the best opportunity for profitability for yourself as an agent. And it may not directly tie into, okay, here's how we close a sale, which we'll probably get into those episodes really soon. But you need to be set up with the right group, with the right support, with the right training, understanding leads, how they work, how other organizations can use leads to catch an agent, or the different quality and parameters on leads, the different types of services and IMOs, because all of this, every little bit will matter, especially as you grow in your career and grow as an agent.
Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. We do want you to know at Life Insurance Academy, our goal is to help agents become more profitable difference makers. And as Zach just said, having the right IMO is an important part of that. So we hope this episode gives you an idea on the real things that matter in the search for an organization, or if you're running an organization, to help you consider those things, knowing that agents are asking those questions. So if you'd like to see the outline of today's show or access links to the resources we discuss, just visit liapodcast.org/EP31. That's liapodcast.org/EP31 for the show notes. As always, thanks so much for listening to the Life Insurance Academy podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure to subscribe wherever you're listening, rate us 5 stars, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Life Insure Acad. The Life Insurance Academy podcast is hosted, edited, and mixed by me, Austin Lopes-Olvero. This episode was produced by Chris Ball and myself. Our theme song is by Flashing Lights. We'll catch you on another episode, including our upcoming series on closing the sale. Until then, stay safe and go be a difference maker.